Hey, what's up, guys? Saw this video that was being reacted to by some other streamers, and I thought I'd go ahead and give it the old reaction myself. So, this is a video by um, Angel Tosh, Tosh, or Angel like a Tosh, dude. And why I only play old games. So, watch it. Play a lot of old games myself, so I'm curious as to what she thinks.
Hey guys, do you ever just wanna or
Oh
or
yeah,
even
yes.
because I do. Like
Also
all
an
the
evening
time. The
quesadilla
truth
while we
is, I
react.
haven't been excited about a new release for a very long
With
time.
a
The
really hot
last
chili.
new game that I was really anticipating would have been like Outlast Trials or the anniversary edition of Beyond Good and Evil, a game which came out in 2003, by the way, and even that I was anticipating with caution because, it is Ubisoft and nobody wants to see their favorite game ruined. When I have spare
That's true.
time, when I want to chill and just immerse myself in a different world, I go for games that are like 20 years old or somewhere around that. If you've watched my channel at all, you will know that I'm somebody that appreciates the finer details in games. I really love worlds that feel alive, eccentric characters, cozy environments. I like beautiful things like art, and of course, my favorite, I like clothing and accessories. More and more, I'm finding that
Goddamn
modern
right.
games have nothing to offer me, and I do want to preface this
Cosmetics.
by saying that this is strictly my opinion, but you would think that with the technology that we have now, all of those things that I mentioned earlier could be improved upon tenfold, but alas, we are given bland worlds, sometimes a lecture in politics, and the erasure of femininity in gaming.
That's
The
so
last point in
crazy.
particular is something that I, as a female gamer, really hate to see.
Let's go
The
back to that
last
real
point
quick.
in particular is something and the erasure of
Look at this. Is this real? They took like a 17-year-old, 23-year-old, between 17 and 23-year-old, and made her 40. What the hell?
femininity in gaming. The last point in particular is something that I, as a female gamer, really hate to see because in the industry's attempt to become more inclusive and conscious of the issues that women deal with when it comes to depictions in media, they've actually gone and made femininity inherently evil and sexualized. Through different companies' actions, we're being shown that beauty and beautiful women have no space in modern gaming, that they're just too much. Aside from that, their portrayal of what it means to be a strong woman suggests that we need to be able to physically overpower our male opponents. The greatest example of this for me is Abby from The Last of Us 2, who is not only the least relatable female protagonist I've seen in like any game ever, she's also said to be
Chili
extremely
isn't as hot as I
unlikable
thought it
from the
was going to
start
be.
for what she does to our beloved Joel. The game tries its best to make you sympathize with her by telling you her part of the story, but the combination of her unrealistic build and her actions throughout the game just make me resent her. And yes, it is an unrealistic build. I'm sorry, but we are in a post-apocalyptic world. Even if she did have access to like top-of-the-line gym equipment in her commune, I doubt that they could ration enough greens and protein for her meal prep to allow her enough time to even get close to that physique. You would need some post-apocalyptic steroids, which sets an unhealthy standard, by the way, to make it make sense. But no, the industry thinks I'm an idiot because I'm supposed to say, oh, great, a strong woman, because there's nothing other than huge muscular arms that could mean a strong woman. Going back to an old game, I'll compare Abby to Jade from Beyond Good and Evil. Now, this game originally came out in 2003, and the protagonist is actually more of a tomboy, but she's still very charming, and the game encourages you to find ways other than physical fighting to progress. It has great stealth, she is brave, she wants to expose her government for their evil doings, just a very likable character and
Hot.
someone that you could root for.
Green lipstick.
She looks pretty and somehow is in no way sexualized.
Definitely.
Weird that they could do that, right? Speaking of unlikable characters, let's talk about Concord. Aside from the fact that none of the characters are appealing in any way, and I do mean male or female, they're also just poorly designed.
Who is
appealing
playing
in any
this,
way,
man?
and
Like, even if you kind of look like this person, like honestly, what percentage of people look like this in the first place? He just looks so bad. Blue lipstick. What the fuck?
I do mean male or female, they're also just poorly designed. There is no personality to them, no depth, nothing that would inspire me to, I don't know, want to cosplay them, for example. And I mean, half of them look like they're a ripoff of something that already
This looks like a character out of Avatar. It looks like they just took the people from Avatar and put them in the game.
them, for example. And I mean, half of them look like they're a ripoff of something that already exists. Sindel from Mortal Kombat has certainly seen better days. You compare these to heroes from other hero shooters, even the free-to-play ones, and you can see that there's a massive difference. Like, these are beloved characters, people have cosplayed these, you know, they're memorable, people that haven't even played the games know who they are and would likely know them by name as well. Whereas Concord's heroes are at best like 800 V-Bucks Fortnite skins. And you know what? Even Fortnite skins have more personality than what they've created here. We know by now that when something like this gets any sort of criticism, the industry will tell you that it doesn't matter because it's the opinion of straight men, so it doesn't count. Which, by the way, great job ignoring and vilifying like a huge chunk of your audience. However, when I as a woman express my opinions and say that I don't like it, I explain the issues that I have with it, I will be told that I'm just being a pick-me girl, pandering to the men that don't like it. Give me a break. A dragon break. You're telling me straight up that a woman is incapable of coming to that conclusion on her own without men telling her that that is the way. You know what they call that? So yeah, instead of arguing with you and getting called a talentless freak, actual quote from Concord developer, I'm just gonna go and create a new Minecraft world. So as I have said, beautiful women in gaming seem to be an absolute no-go nowadays, and we see this in the new Star Wars Outlaws. It feels like the developers literally went out of their way to diminish this character's looks, especially when you compare her to her face model. Like, they really did her dirty. And in their attempt to make this character less attractive, I actually think that they made her look not human. People don't look like that. Of course, the game is currently receiving backlash for a lot of other things, mainly how it feels so unfinished and broken, but aside from how she looks, it's also the fact that developers are held to these quotas at all. So they were, quote, pushing for a black or female lead in a Star Wars game. Now, what this tells me is that the character and the story don't matter as much as their identity. So this is why we're no longer getting well-written and actually interesting, strong female leads in games. Women have become a box that needs to be checked. We can sort of see this in the kind of criticism that games that go against the current are receiving as well, like Black Myth Wukong. An issue that some reviewer had was that they didn't come across any female characters in the beginning of the game. Now, there are female characters in Wukong, but if you don't meet them straight away, that is bad for some reason. We're not letting developers tell a story how they want to tell it, how it's meant to be told. We need to dictate how they're telling these stories so that they'll fit our standards. In the year 2000, 24 years ago, Diablo 2 came out. Now this was years before we had any of these new ideas and standards. The game's opening act centers around the women who were forced to leave their monastery because of the Demon Queen and Dariel. These women are warriors themselves, or rogues, perfectly capable of holding their own, but they do seek the hero's help, which can be male or female depending on your class, as they are being overrun by their corrupted sisters. The first mini-boss is a callback to one of the main classes in Diablo 1. Then we have the Countess, which is a really clever historical reference to Elizabeth Bathory, or one of the most prolific female serial killers of all time. Now, this fits the world perfectly, and above all, it's just great for Act 1. Finally, you face my favorite boss in the game, Andariel, the Maiden of Anguish. I go back to Diablo 2 all the time because it feels like you're actually part of like a really dark and interesting story. None of it feels forced. The characters don't appear to have been added for the sake of any quotas or checked boxes, and it's all very natural and organic. I know in the past there were of course games that had, say, over-the-top depictions with female characters, and an example that is often brought up is Mortal Kombat 9. But the thing about this is, everything in Mortal Kombat was historically over the top. Man. Like, we're talking literally pulling someone's spine out or feeding their spleen back to them. I don't know, I made that one up, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was real. Like, a whole rating system had to be created because of these games. So, really, I don't know if I would see it as like a valid complaint. Like, it's there, I get it, but also, it is what it is. However, in the modern industry, we're sort of going in the complete opposite direction, and it's honestly doing more harm than good. Truthfully, and this is coming from from a female gamer who is supposedly the audience for these new games. I would much rather watch paint dry than pay for this shit. Or level a warrior to 60 in WoW Classic, which is effectively the same thing. The main content on my channel has been centered around Elder Scrolls games, mainly Morrowind and Oblivion, which are both almost 2 decades old. And in 2024, I was able to grow a channel from 0 to where we are now, because I am not the only person who is so stuck on these old games. I've gone over my personal feelings and reasons why I feel like modern gaming has just forgotten about people like me, in the name of supposedly including me more, but different people have different reasons for sticking to the beloved classics. A recent controversy, which most of you have probably heard of, was the showcase of an Assassin's Creed game that is based in Japan.
It's so crazy why people like will keep playing game day in and day out just to like not even be good at it, just to like be a part of that community, man. It's so cool.
These gamers coming out and saying that they don't get it. It's offensive. There's a petition out there to cancel the release of this game in Japan. And why? Because the game's protagonist is a foreigner that gets to whoop Japanese people up and down the block. Tell me why, in Assassin's Creed 2, we have an Italian protagonist in Italy. We have a Native American guy in America in Assassin's Creed 3. We have a French protagonist in France. Why could we not have a Japanese protagonist in Japan? Japanese gamers don't relate to this at all, and some of them have even highlighted other inaccuracies in the game which are disrespectful to their culture and their country, shows a huge lack of research from the developer side, but I guess their opinion doesn't matter because
Alright. Let's continue this.
I guess their opinion doesn't matter because probably a straight man told them to think that way. I feel like it's a real shame that there's this awkwardness, or it can be seen as controversial to express these opinions, because if we're not going to get to talk about this, we are forever going to continue having this huge rift between gamers and developers, many failed projects in the future, lots of people losing their jobs over said failed projects. This brings me to the Elder Scrolls 6. I'm at a point where I don't know if I even want them to go there anymore, because by today's standards, there is just so much that could go wrong. A few months ago, I came across this really spicy hot take that said this.
Skyrim, the game by Bethesda, is a pro-colonization narrative and is racist.
Now, I did a full response to that video on my TikTok account when it came out, so I will leave it in the description of this video if you want to see that, but in short, I said the depiction does not equal endorsement. I'm seeing that we're starting to have a real problem with media literacy, like it's non-existent. So just because a particular topic is discussed in any piece of media, it is suddenly endorsed, it is shown as a good thing, according to these people. This girl gave many examples of depictions of racism in Skyrim, like where you can see the Nords ganging up on a dark elf in Windhelm and harassing her, referring to her race as the Greyskins, which is an attempt at a slur. But lest we forget, ladies and gentlemen, that the dark elves of Morrowind are not too fond of Outlanders themselves, or Enwas, as they call them. You see, Skyrim is an already incredibly diluted game when it comes to heavy and difficult topics compared to its predecessors. Like, I'm pretty sure that regardless of your race in the game, you may see slight dialogue differences, but you'll still have equal opportunities for progression throughout the game. It doesn't really change your journey much, whereas in Morrowind, based on your race, you'll actually have a different disposition with different races. So I guess you can call that racism built into the game, but it's just a realistic depiction of how different peoples would react to Outlanders in their homeland. Not only that, Morrowind deals with the very heavy topic of slavery. The player, while having the option to free slaves, can just as easily not help, and in some cases make things worse. In Skyrim, there really isn't an action that you can take that compares to that. In fact, the way in which these racist encounters are presented are meant to make you feel sorry for the person being harassed and not the other way around. Though if Skyrim, as I've said, is already a more diluted version of events and is still causing such a stir with these people, what can we expect from the next installment of the Elder Scrolls? Because unfortunately, these are the kind of people that are being listened to. Should we expect anything? Aren't we better off just replaying Oblivion for the billionth time instead of expecting like a complex and interesting story to come out of the next game? I'm also worried about the incessant attempts at monetization after you've already purchased a game, or if you're paying some sort of subscription. How are they going to implement their store?
That's got to be the worst thing, man, is that we're getting less and less games that just are games that you can put on the shelf and enjoy that you played, more than just like a constant reach for your wallet, which is rough.
Into the game. I don't know about anyone else, but when I go into a game and I scroll to a page in the title screen where I'm seeing euro signs everywhere, it just takes me out of it. Not to mention how some companies just take it way too far, like Blizzard's greed in adding the level 60 boost to TBC Classic ruined TBC for me and for many others. Now, I know Elder Scrolls 6 isn't going to be an MMO, but they will likely try to continue monetizing the game long after you've purchased it, and I don't mean overpriced DLC. If the next Elder Scrolls game is just gonna give our beloved franchise a bad name, honestly, I'd rather not have it at all. Keep it a mystery and I'll just keep playing my old games. And that's it. This is me coming back after 2 months with my boomer takes. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I do apologize for being gone for so long. I couldn't have predicted it this time around, but I'm hopefully here to stay right now. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Be seeing you.
Nice.
Bye.
Great video. Man, it's people like that play Skyrim that make me want to get into it, because it just seems like such a fun game to delve into. Let's go ahead and give it a like, subscribe. This is a really good video. You guys definitely, if you're not following her, follow her. Thanks guys for watching. I think the game that I would say I play most, it's old, like I come back to again and again. She talked about it as well, was Warcraft 3. It's just so fun. Anyways, see ya.